Hey guys, welcome back to Cali Plants. It's me again, Mark, and today we're back with another care guide video. And for this one, we're gonna be talking about the Echeveria Pink Champagne. So you can see here, this is my proud pink champagne. Okay, I've been very proud with this plant. This plant has been with me for more than a year. I think it's one of the older and more expensive plants that I bought, but now it's not so expensive anymore here in the Philippines because it's been propagated a lot. And basically in this video, I will just be giving you this plant's origin, description, its needs when it comes to its potting mix, watering, and sun exposure, and also I'll be giving you some tips when it comes to this plant's problems, so please make sure to watch till the end to see that. Now, just as a background check, I got this plant from Jinky Kadayogan, and she's an online seller here in the Philippines. So if you want to buy a pink champagne, you can check out her Facebook page, or you can also check out other Benguet sellers who propagate succulents from Korea, because a lot of them will usually sell pink champagne. This is actually a very rare hybrid here in the Philippines. This is actually very uncommon, very common, not very cheap, but it's very common. So you can probably find a pink champagne if you look at sellers online, and you might actually find that when you first buy your champagne varieties, they will look probably more like this. They have more farina, but this one, I think it lost its farina when it became stressed. Now, on this plant's origin, this is a hybrid from Korea, and it's bred by Yoon Suk Lee. So that's what I researched when it comes to this plant. It's actually not registered with the International Crassulaceae Network, probably because it's a plant that is sterile, which means it doesn't produce flowers anymore. Some plants actually, when they are bred a lot, when they've been through many generations of breeding, of selection, some plants will actually stop flowering, which is why they cannot be registered anymore, I think, because those who document plants will actually document succulents only if they flowered. So if the plant hasn't flowered yet, then they will not be able to document it. So I think this one hasn't flowered yet, but if you have pink champagne, or if you have any champagne varieties in your care and you've seen it flower, then please make sure to comment it down below, and also you can send me a picture of this plant's flower on my Facebook page so I can have an idea what it looks like when it's flowering, and we can share it with other succulent collectors as well. Now, back to the breeding of this plant. This is actually a cross between Echeveria laui and Echeveria romeo, so Agavoides romeo. So that's actually the parents of this plant. I have here our two parents. So this is the laui and this is the romeo. Wow, they look very beautiful on camera. So you can see here, really stunning succulents. They're both compact growers, and they're low growing succulents. They're ones that doesn't get very big very quickly, and they have thick leaves as well. This one could probably be a little bit more sensitive when it comes to heat, but this one I find that it can tolerate a little bit more sun because of the farina. And with that combined, we get our champagne series. So here are the champagne series. I have 4 plants here. I believe that I need 1 more, but I think that there are also other champagne varieties out there which are no longer included with the original listing. Originally, there are 5 varieties of Echeveria champagne. There is pink, there is purple, there is red, there is white, and then there is green. So that's the 5 varieties of champagne. There's one that's going around that is the White Knight Echeveria. I think that that is a variety of the white champagne. And there's also the German champagne, which I think is a variety of the green champagne. So it could probably be the same plant, I think, because some sellers will actually sell plants and give them different names just so that they can price their plants higher. So which is why some champagne could probably have very different names in your location or depending on the seller, but they could probably be within that listing of 5 champagne hybrids, that original 5 champagne hybrids. Well, the lights are really changing right now. Okay, so I have here our usual pink champagne. This has the most distribution amongst all champagne varieties. So this is the pink champagne. Now I'm gonna be guessing on the other ones because I think I forgot their proper ID. But I have here, so this is the white champagne. This could probably be the white one. This could probably be the purple one. Okay. And this could be the red one. Okay, so this could be the red one if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so they're pretty much indistinguishable. You can see they almost look identical to each other because they're probably sister seedlings. They probably are very similar really, and they could only look different once they're stressed. But this one, you can see it's got a very different set of leaves. It actually looks very different with them because this one is actually stressed right now. I used to have this in a big pot, in a deeper pot, and it made it stressed, and now I'm trying to make it not stressed again. So I'm trying to wake it up out of its dormant state. Now let's move on to this plant's needs. And when it comes to sun exposure, I think that it can tolerate a lot more sun than our usual Agavoides hybrid. Because of the Lawi influence on it, I think it can tolerate a little bit more sun. But if you want to be extra careful with it because it's a very slow grower, you can also give it a little bit more protection. But what I find that if you grow this in a shaded area, it can produce this mottled appearance. It can have this edema which looks like markings on the leaves. So I had that problem with this plant because I think I placed it in a very humid location and it was getting very shaded. It was getting very shaded light, so it doesn't get a lot of direct sun, which is why it got those edema. But now, looking at it right now, really it doesn't have that edema anymore because it's produced new leaves as well. So those new leaves doesn't have that edema problem, and I think that it's looking very beautiful right now. This actually went through a lot of phases while it was in my care. So this used to be a small succulent, and then it grew large, and then it grew small again. So that's what this plant did. I didn't even had a chance propagating it because it's a very sensitive succulent, and it's also a very slow growing one. So if you want to be careful with burning this plant, if you don't want to burn it, you can give it a little bit more protection. You can put it under a shade net or under UV plastic in your garden so that you won't burn it, because it's also a very slow growing succulent. But I think it can tolerate a little bit more sun than your other usual Echeverias. Now, when it comes to the potting mix of this plant, I would recommend our usual 7 parts inorganic material like pumice mixed with 3 parts organic material like carbonized rice hull or like compost or coco peat. But I would find that you can probably have more success with this plant if you give it a little bit more of ingredients, if you add ingredients that absorb water in its potting mix, because it's such a slow grower, it's such a slow rooter that it needs to attach itself to the potting mix very quickly, because if it doesn't attach itself very quickly, then you will find that it will develop much more slowly. So I would really recommend you add probably coco peat in its potting mix, and also you can probably add vermiculite. So you can try that so that the roots will attach, or you can also try Alnos compost. I find that my newly potted succulents, the roots really attach very quickly if their potting mix has Alnos compost. So you can also find that online probably, or with Benguet sellers here in the Philippines. You can ask for Alnos compost, or if you're living in other countries, you can try using pine bark. Some garden centers will actually sell pine bark. That's an ingredient that is usually found in aroid mixes or mixes for houseplants. So you can use those pine bark to add to your potting mix, and the roots of this succulent will attach to that very well. Actually, my other plants here, this one I've had some developments on my other champagne ones because of their coco peat mixture, and because I also planted them in a clay pot. So the clay pot actually helps remove the moisture from the coco peat in its potting mix, because the coco peat absorbs a lot of water and it holds on to water for long, but because it's in a clay pot, it releases that water right away. So I find that this one will probably become dry, and after 2 days, after 3 days, it will be dry already. And I find that very good for thick leaf Echeverias. So you can see here, all my other Echeverias are planted in a clay pot or in a shallow pot like this, because with these sensitive ones, they don't like to stay wet for very long, so I have them planted in clay pots. So you can use that when you're buying champagne varieties, and I would also recommend that when you're buying Lawi and when you're buying any other Agavoides hybrids. Now, when it comes to watering, I only water this plant when the bottom leaves are dry enough. So I usually do this exercise on my succulents, and if the leaves are already pushable, they're not firm, then I will start watering. But since this one is very dormant, it's very stressed, you can see that the leaves here are very thick compared to this one. So this one is actually a very thin leaf champagne, so you can see here the leaves are thinner. So I've actually been watering this more than this one because I'm only trying to wake this up. When the plant gets dormant, you would not want to water it a lot, because if you water it, then the leaves will drop, the leaves will become black, will become mushy. Even if the potting mix is dry, the leaves will die if you water it right away. So this one, I wait for the potting mix to dry and for the older leaves to become thirsty first before I water again. So it's a very sensitive succulent. I've said it before and I would like to remind you of that. If you don't have it in a shallow pot like this or in a clay pot with it like this, you have to be very mindful of watering this plant, because if you overwater it, it will lose leaves and it can also get rot if you're not careful with the watering of this plant. So I would recommend that if you're growing it in full sun, be mindful of when you water it. Check the leaves first before you water it. And also, if you're growing this in a location that has less sun, then you will have to water even less. So you don't have to water this plant a lot, because it can hold on to the moisture in its leaves. It can hold on to moisture for very long. It will not need watering very quickly. So this one is pretty much a plant that you can plant and forget about it. Don't bother with it too much. It doesn't need a lot of care. It can handle itself. It can handle neglect very nicely, so you don't have to bother with watering this plant very often. Now when it comes to propagating this plant, I haven't had a chance propagating this succulent because, as I said before, it's a very sensitive one. I didn't actually want to remove its leaves because it grows its leaves very slowly. So if you manage to grow it in a bigger size, then you can probably remove the leaves and you can probably have success with propagating it. But if your plant is still on this size, it's still small, then I would not recommend that you propagate it via leaf right away, because the leaves are still small and it has very low chances of propagating if the leaves are small and if you haven't managed to acclimate it right away. So I wouldn't rush propagating the succulent. You can probably propagate it via beheading. You can cut out the upper part of the rosette, but if the stem below is very small, then you would not see a lot of pops growing from that. Actually, I said before that this is a slow growing plant, and I would like to say that again, because this plant used to be a big succulent. It had grown a lot of leaves before, but when it lost its leaves, you can see here that it hasn't produced a lot of stem. So it's still a very compact succulent. It's one that will not grow a lot of stem right away. It's actually a very stemless succulent. So I would really avoid propagating it right away, because the stem in it could be very small, and if the stem inside the plant is small, it will not produce a lot of pops. So you might fail beheading it if you behead it too early and if it hasn't grown a lot yet. You can see here that the plants I have here also are looking compact. So it's a very compact grower. Once you manage to make it grow a little more, it's a very compact grower. It doesn't stretch very quickly and it doesn't produce a lot of stem. So which is why I would recommend that if you're growing in a place that has less sun or that has filtered sun, because this plant will really not etiolate very much. So now we're done with the propagating part of this video. We're gonna talk about the problems of this succulent, and I would say that the biggest problem with it is it's a very seasonal plant. It's very dormant when it comes to winter, so it doesn't produce a lot of growth, and then there's parts in the year when it will produce a ton of growth. So right now we're coming into autumn season, because here in the Philippines our summer are actually very rainy. We have a very wet summer season here in the Philippines, and that wet summer season, I find that very good with echeverias like this. They will start growing probably right now, June, July, August, September. So that's the months that they will be growing a lot. This plant, as I said before, it used to be a big succulent. So I had this for about a few months. It was still small, and once it managed to establish itself, it really produced a ton of leaves. And when the season became cooler, when it became winter, it lost a lot of those leaves and it becomes smaller again. So when the summer came in, like this year, when it's no longer that rainy, it started becoming dormant. It actually produced less growth right now. From January to our month right now, it's actually June. So it's not producing a ton of growth, I think because it's dormant still. But I believe that on the coming months, it will start growing again. So you have to be very careful with this plant because if it's not growing and if you water it a lot, it will really drop its leaves. It will become mushy. It will probably rot and die. So don't water it a lot. If the winter is cold, if the weather is cold and if it's winter in your area, don't water your succulent a lot. And when it's summer again or when it's going into autumn, then I would recommend you start watering this and fertilizing it because it will really produce a lot of growth once it's growing. But while it's not growing, while it's dormant, don't expect it to produce a lot of growth. I would really recommend that you avoid getting damages on this plant. So as I said before, it can have problems with edema, but when it comes to pests, I haven't had any issues with it. When it comes to pests, it didn't get a lot of mealybugs and it didn't get scale. It can only get edema, sunburn on its leaves if you give it too much sun or too little sun. So edema if you give it too little sun. So I would recommend this if you've got a protected area in your space so that you avoid getting damages on it. Put a shade net or a plastic over it wherever you're placing it in your garden. Give it some protection so that you don't get any damages on it. But I think that it's a very beautiful, very stunning succulent. You can see here that the rosette it has, the leaves it has, actually has this striations of farina because the leaves brush up on each other and then they produce this really nice striping of farina on it, which is very beautiful. That farina actually makes it stand out amongst any other echeverias because other echeverias wouldn't have that striation on their leaves, much like the pink champagne, much like the champagne series. Now I also believe that this is not a very popular succulent here in the Philippines. Not a lot of people are growing this and I don't see a lot of people posting their champagnes online. Those who are posting their champagnes are growing German champagnes or growing white knight. So that's probably the champagne variety that they're sharing, but not the pink champagne. So it's not a very popular succulent, but I think that it's also very rewarding. It's very beautiful, and if you want to try out much more expensive echeverias, if you're already expanding your collection, you can start with the pink champagne since it's not a very expensive one. So you can start practicing with this plant before you go on to more expensive echeverias. So the lights are really changing right now and it's really distracting me. Also, let me just add that this plant doesn't do very well in shipping, so you can get probably mushy leaves when you receive it through the mail. So I've had that problems with these three newly shipped succulents. I've had problems with them getting mushy through shipping. So you can expect your plant to lose a little bit of leaves before you establish it. So I would really suggest that if you're buying this plant, that you choose a bigger size succulent, especially if you're buying it through online, so that you can still have some leaves, so that it wouldn't look very ugly if it loses a little bit of its leaves, so that it can still look pretty nice, because it will really lose a lot of leaves when you ship it and while it's acclimating. But I think that's about it for this video, guys. If you really like this plant, if you like the tips that I gave you, please make sure to hit the thumbs up below. And also, if you haven't subscribed already, you're welcome to subscribe if you want. If you really like succulents, we have a lot of succulent videos, care guides coming up next here in the channel. So if you subscribe, you wouldn't miss any of that. And also, if you have any other requests when it comes to care guides, please make sure to comment down below. I will try to add it to the list once I get a chance. And I think that's about it for this video, guys. I'm really getting distracted with the light right now. Yeah, and I will see you on the next video. Bye bye.